What up? It's your girl Tania, aka the Cool Auntie, and this is the Cool Auntie podcast. Listen, I know I look raggedy today, but I was about to get ready for the day and I realized something. I'm like, oh my gosh, I just invited all of my nieces and nephews into my house and we didn't go over the ground rules. I said, oh hell no. Let's bring this back and go over the ground rules. You're like, oh my gosh, are there ground rules? There are. There are 5 golden rules that if you want to be here and be in this space, you got to be a part of. You got to embrace it, okay? I'm the kind of house, if you can't tell from behind me, we don't sit directly on the furniture. We take our shoes off, okay? I don't care if you're here for a minute or a month. You take your shoes off when you hit that door, so I have house rules in my real house. You know what I'm saying? But I also have house rules on the podcast. So I want to jump right into those today. So number one, listen here. I am raggedy, okay? When I say I'm raggedy, I'm raggedy. Now, when I say raggedy, I don't mean dingy, because I'm not dingy. But I am raggedy. Matter of fact, I purposely did not put anything on my face. I didn't get dialed up for y'all because I wanted y'all to know what I look like 60% of the time. 60% of the time since the pandemic, this is what I look like, okay? I will throw this here into a little bun and whatever shirt I don't have to iron, I wear. But when I say raggedy, I'm really referring to this idea of imperfection. I think it's common, to want to be great at everything and to be naturally good at everything and to be attractive to everyone and to get everything that you apply for or go for. But the reality is that we're not. And I have embraced, and I won't say I've embraced because I'm still learning to do it, but I'm beginning to embrace this idea that I'm not perfect and that's okay. Right? And that I think sometimes it's the things that make me different, the things that I mess up on that make me unique, but also two, they kind of really not that they force me, but they really encourage me to connect with God, right? This idea that He's strong in our weakness. And so I've learned to embrace my weaknesses and my areas of improvement because I'm human, right? I'm giving myself grace, but also He says that I have what I'm supposed to have. Right. And so if I already have it, that's it, period. Right. And so I'm raggedy and I own it and I take it. And so you'll hear me say raggedy all the time. Just disregard it because it is what it is. But before you think about coming in here judging me and my raggediness, I want to also let you know that your ass is raggedy too. Ooh, I said ass. I am working on not cussing. So again, this is a very transparent space. I am really trying to be intentional about using profanity. Dang, and I said the A word. Okay, so if I cuss, now we're still working on road rage. But outside of that, if I cuss, y'all gotta hold me accountable because I really am working on not doing that anymore. Right? But y'all raggedy too, okay? So just how I have my own imperfections and my own things that God is working on me with, y'all have y'all's too. It's just in a different way, shape, and form. And so, don't be over here judging me, right? But at the end of the day, I think I laugh, but I'm serious, right? And the first step, I think, to kind of change is acknowledgement, right? Before, that's with any kind of coaching that I've done, any training, anything that I've even been a part of. The first step to any kind of change, to healing, growth, is acceptance. I think of it almost like a GPS, right? When you want to go somewhere and you go to Google Maps or Waze or whatever you use, what's the first thing it asks you to type in? Your current location, right? Your current location. The first thing it makes you verify when you open the app is where are you now, right? And the same rules, I think, apply to life, right? Where are you now? Before you can think about where you want to be, right, and how to get there and all the routes that you can take, you have to first acknowledge where you are. And so when we say raggedy, when I say I'm raggedy, when I say that you're raggedy, it's just us acknowledging that, you know what, this is where I am with this thing at this time, and God's still working on me, right? Period. You know, speaking of God and working on me, I want to also acknowledge rule number 2. And that is that I am not a pastor. I am not a minister. I am not saying that I have this God thing figured out. I don't, my love. I don't. And I apologize now if I gave anybody that impression. I am not a minister. I'll be honest with y'all. There are still some times where I fall asleep during prayer. Okay? There are some mornings when I am cussing people out in my car because I was already late and their stupid driving is making me later, right? And that God is still working on me, and I feel like heavy is the head that wears the crown. And ministers, preachers, y'all got that, okay? That ain't your girl, okay? So it's not me. I'm not converting non-believers. I speak about God because it's my experience, right? And when I made my promise to him, I told him that I would say what he wanted me to say. And so when I say God, it's not to offend you. You can fill in the blank with whatever you want to. But as I speak about me, I'm going to include him in that. And please believe that as I advance in my relationship with him, because I am learning him, right? I'm learning who he is. I'm learning how to hear from him. I'm learning how to incorporate him into my life. And I'm some days I'm good at stuff, and other days I'm horrible at stuff, you know. And so as I'm learning it, but I'm tapped in as I'm learning it. I want to learn with y'all. If y'all have tips and things for me, if y'all have interpretations and things for me, give them back to me. Like, this is a us thing, a we thing, a journey, right? And so I am not at all an expert in that. Matter of fact, I don't even consider this to be an expert podcast. You know, when I think about this podcast, the Cool Auntie is about how to navigate life. Right? And I am no expert on life. In fact, I don't feel like anybody is an expert on life. I don't care how many degrees you have, how many years that you've lived, because at the end of the day, life is really about figuring out who you are and which you were brought here to do. And I feel like the more you get to know yourself, you're also evolving into newer versions of yourselves. So it's almost like a moving target. And so this idea of understanding life, understanding you, those are everlasting journeys. And I think that's intentional. And so this is not an expert podcast. What I can say is that I do have a set of skills. You ever seen Take It? I know it's probably corny. I shouldn't have said that, but I couldn't help it. It was right there on my tongue. I know. I can hear them now. I can hear my students clowning me now for saying that, but I had to say that. It was right there. It was just you know. I cannot. But this idea that like I do have a background. I'm a teacher. This is what I do. I teach, I coach, I counsel. That's what I do every day. And so I've had the privilege of being a part of so many people's development in their leadership journeys and just their growth and development. And I want to be able to share those skills and that knowledge with you. But then also, like, I think God has blessed me with an amazing network. I've gotten to engage and to connect with some really awesome people in the world who have really awesome insights and talents and stories. And so I'm excited that in this podcast, I get to bring those people on and we get to have some really amazing talks, right? I get to have impactful conversations with impactful people about impactful topics. And so super excited about that. But I am not a minister. I am not an expert, okay? Raggedy, raggedy, raggedy. Okay, we are learning together. We are growing together. And more importantly, we are glowing together, okay? Because you know what? Your girl didn't get to have her hot girl summer last year. But please believe that your girl is having her hot, wholesome girl summer. I don't know if I can include that in there, but I will because he's listening to me. And I'm really going to do that. But I'm going to have my hot, holistic girl summer this summer, okay? So we are going to be glowing together. If you don't want to glow, that's cool. But your girl will be glowing, okay? Which brings me to rule number 4. And to me, I feel like this is, or not even 4, this is 3. See, I was ready to rush to number 4. But to me, the rule number 3 is the most important rule. And that is that this is a no judgment zone. Okay. So if you're one of those people who wake up hating, okay, and you know who you are, because I know I got some people on here who are some haters, and that's cool. Listen, we raggedy and we all have our raggedy areas, and some of y'all are raggedy in the area of hating. And if that is you, I'm talking to you right now. Don't you bring that raggedy mess in here. Okay? This is a judgment-free zone. And here we F up, we make mistakes, we own them, we talk about them, we process, we heal, we reflect, and we are accountable, and we do what we gotta do. Okay? And that I'm gonna be sharing my personal stories. I've done some, okay. When I say your girl been raggedy, your girl was raggedy back in the day, okay? Raggedy, okay? And I'm gonna be telling y'all all about what that was like and what I've done. And I put it out in the world, and I'm owning it, right? But also because I trust that y'all, as I invite you into my home, and I trust y'all with that. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna do the same for me, right? And I want to hear more about your experiences and how you all are growing and how you all are healing and what you all are doing, right? And so don't come unless I sin, okay? Do not come unless I sin, okay? Me and God, like I told y'all, we still working through some things. So 3 years ago, I was about 80% likely, okay, to nuck if you buck, okay? I might be at like 30% now, but please understand that 30, I'm gonna leave that right there, okay? Okay, I'm a spiritual gangster out here, okay? Don't try me. And don't try my people, because you know what? Rule number 4, we are a family. The Cool Auntie isn't just a title because it sounds cool, right? First of all, if you know me at all, I definitely give off that Cool Auntie vibe, okay? Because at the end of the day, like I am my authentic self because I want you to be yourself. Like, I love me as raggedy as I am, me and myself, and I have the best time of our life, okay? Me and my dog be in here jamming by ourselves. I love me, right? But also I genuinely love other people. And so when I meet people, when I tell you it is genuine, it is genuine. And so I want y'all to feel like you're really in my home. Maybe you're not in Philly. First of all, if you're in Philly, pull up. What we doing this summer? But if you're not in Philly, I want you to still feel like you're here and you're present. And I want you to feel that way, okay? Because we are family. I am rooting for you. I'm not your mom. I may not ever meet you or ever have a conversation with you, but I want you to know, whoever you are, that I'm rooting for you. If I know people hating on you right now, they don't want to see you up, sis, okay? They don't want to see you level up, bro. Like, I know that, but I want you to win. I see you grinding, okay? I know it's hard. I know it's tough because I'm with you, but I want you to know that I want you to win, because when you win, we all win. Okay, so in here, we're a family. We support each other. We root for each other. We encourage each other. We learn from each other, period. Like the kids say, period. And of course, the last, which probably should be the most important rule, but the judging one is, because I will kick y'all hating behinds, didn't cuss out. But the 5th rule is that at the end of the day, each of us, if you're here and a part of this journey, you are a faith-filled boss. Okay? You are a faith-filled boss. You're like, Tania, what is that? Simple as this. Faith-filled just means that we accept and that we acknowledge the fact that no matter how hard we try, no matter what we do in life, no matter how much we achieve, how much we grow, we elevate, and we try to do the right thing, at the end of the day, there are things that are beyond our control, right? This idea of spiritual warfare, there are things that are beyond our control that we have to trust God to take care of. And so when I say faith-filled with that, and the idea of bosses is that we do what we can, right? God has given each of us talents, skills, strengths, gifts, so that we can make an impact in this world, an impact in our families, an impact in our industries, an impact in our relationships, right? And so we have to actually do the work. But then there are also things that are beyond us that we are trusting and believing God for because he promised them to us. But more importantly, he's never failed us. And so we kind of, no matter what we talk about in this space, no matter what we're up against, because trust me, we're not going to always have good days. Sometimes we'll laugh in here, sometimes we'll joke in here, but then other times we real serious, and sometimes we might even have some tears, right? But through it all, we acknowledge the fact that the work has to be done, but also that he's got us. Okay, he's got us. And so this was actually kind of cool. I wasn't even sure how this was going to land, but I actually had a lot of fun recording this. But I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm telling them to come over here and get comfortable. We ain't even go over the rules yet. Okay, and so I want to make sure that y'all heard those. So number one, we embrace our raggedy. Okay, I'm raggedy, you're raggedy. We don't, okay, period. 2, not an expert, not a minister. I am not converting you. I'm not laying hands. That's not my ministry. Although I do support them very, very much, right? Number 3, no judgment zone, right? I'm raggedy, you raggedy. We embrace that. We learn from that, period, right? Because 4, we are a family. We are rooting for each other. We are supporting each other. We are loving on each other. That's it. Because 5, we are faith-filled bosses, which means that we got our head down. We are running our own race, right? We're putting that work in, but we're also believing that God's going to open up every door that is for us, right? And bring every opportunity and every person that is for us to us, period. And so I'm super, super excited to start this journey with y'all. And so next week, we officially launch this podcast with our first series called Crayons Still Color. It was really important. I know that's a strong start, but it was really important for us to start there, right? This idea of exploring what brokenness looks like and what does it mean to have your breaking point or your breaking moment. But more importantly, how do you get up off the floor? Right. And so super excited to bring the inaugural or the first episode, a first official episode of the Cool Auntie podcast. Because it's real. We're really doing this thing. It's been a thought. It's been an idea. It's been a thing for a long time. But this is really, really real. And even if you made it to this part of episode 2 and you actually listen to the whole thing, I want you to know that I really appreciate this. We appreciate this, the entire team behind this. And we can't wait for this journey. We can't wait for this journey. And so please stay tuned if you have not already. As I always say, follow us on social media, Instagram @_ the Cool Auntie. Auntie spelled with the I-E, not a Y. Although no shade for those who spell it with a Y. But not us. So make sure you follow us on social media so you can stay up to date with the workbook, with the content, and with the activities that we do throughout the series. But more importantly, I want to hear back from you. So if you haven't already subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Make sure that you download. Make sure that you follow. Stay connected. I want to hear how you're enjoying the content. I want to hear you connecting with other people. But more importantly, I want to hear more about what you want to hear. And so with that being said, that's my Billy. That's the only cool dance I know how to do. With that, let's go. Cool Auntie Podcast. Love you. Love you. Love you. Call me back.